Rain had a way of making the city look cleaner than it really was. Headlights stretched across wet pavement in long silver reflections. Traffic lights painted red and green over the puddles, and pedestrians hurried beneath umbrellas as though the evening itself were pushing everyone home. Several floors above them, only one office still carried a warm rectangle of light into the darkness. Darison Ambers sat behind a desk that had disappeared beneath bank statements, vendor invoices, account histories, and 3 color-coded folders of evidence. He was a man who lived in the details. The brass lettering on the glass door outside still read, Ambers and Copper CPA, a name he had spent years building. It was a name he had always been proud to see at the end of a long day. Most clients knew him as Darison. Friends had shortened it years ago to Dari, a nickname that belonged to the man beneath the credentials. The partner and the accountant who enjoyed finding the single number that refused to behave. Tonight, one number had finally misbehaved badly enough to matter. It was the crack in the facade. Darison leaned closer to his laptop and compared 4 payments that had been deliberately scattered across separate accounts. One was described as compliance consulting, another appeared as logistical services. A third had been concealed among equipment expenses, and the fourth had been routed through a shell vendor. Individually, the transactions were forgettable. Together, they created a pattern, a signature of fraud. He checked the total a second time, then a third, before leaning back in his chair. The truth was undeniable. "Oh, you idiot," he murmured. The person he had been investigating had reused an account. It was the fatal flaw. They had been so careful, yet they had grown arrogant. They were wrong. The investigation had started as something almost painfully ordinary. A client suspected inflated expenses. They wanted an independent review before confronting management. Darison had expected small-time theft. He expected falsified reimbursements, perhaps a few personal purchases hidden in business accounts. The sort of dishonesty that could become serious without becoming extraordinary. But this was different. Instead, every week had revealed another layer. Shell vendors led to concealed reimbursements. Those reimbursements led to private finance records. Those records led to even darker places. Organizations whose registration histories were more interesting than their services. Money was moving. Money was moving somewhere, and someone had taken great care to keep ordinary reviewers from seeing how. Numbers could lie, but lies left structure behind. Money still came from somewhere and went somewhere. A false invoice had to enter a ledger. A forged authorization had to be filed. The trail was there. A hidden payment still required an account. If someone moved enough pieces, eventually 2 of them touched. Tonight, they had touched. The overlap was clear, documented, and absolutely damning. He reached for his phone. He considered calling his business partner, then glanced at the desk clock. It was well after 10. This could wait. He would contact the investigator handling the criminal side of the matter in the morning, secure the records. He would explain why the reused account changed the direction of the case. He felt the weight of it. Darison closed the laptop, gathered the most important pages into a folder, and slid it into his briefcase. He checked the lock. He stood, stretched until his back protested, and looked once more through the glass. Tomorrow, he told the empty room. Tomorrow, the truth would be out. Tomorrow, he could finally rest. He felt a sense of closure. The long day was over, but he never noticed the person watching. A silent predator waiting for the prey to leave the nest. The eyes tracked every movement across the street. The rain had grown heavier by the time he reached the parking garage. Water drummed against concrete ramps. Every sound felt amplified in the cold, cavernous space. Oily channels gathered beneath the lights. He felt the weight of the briefcase in his hand, the weight of destroyed lives. He started the engine. The drive home should have taken 20 minutes. 20 minutes of quiet reflection between work and home. Then headlights filled his rearview mirror. They were coming too fast. Darison's mind recognized the danger. There was nowhere to go, much too fast. Sudden cut to silence and black.